Greetings, my friends. It's Carrie Konyha bringing you this week's energy update. Come on in, have a seat with me. So as you'll discover in this week's episode, we've got a lot going on this week to talk about, which I'm going to be getting into here. But because we've got some intense energies happening, I thought I would begin with offering us a little bit of sage today. So while you're settling in with me here, just give yourself a few deep breaths. With each exhale, releasing, letting go any residual tension or strain or stress that might be hiding out in your energy field. The past many weeks have been highly transformative and it's come with its intensity. So let's just give ourselves a moment here to breathe and center as we're settling in for sacred insight and guidance. This amazing ceremonial smudge feather that I'm using here today was handcrafted and gifted to me by my dear friend, Shaman Golden Sky. You can check them out on Instagram and Facebook at Shaman Golden Sky. And so, yeah, let's just take a moment here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about where we're at with that Uranus North Node Mars conjunction. But before we do that, because these weekly energy updates are aligned with the phases of each moon cycle, I'm going to start by talking about what's going on with the moon. So we are in the first quarter moon phase this week, beginning with August 5th, with the moon now being in the sign of Scorpio. Moon in Scorpio always supports us in accessing deeper layers of the subtle nudgings of our intuition. It also brings us a little bit more inward, a little more contemplative. We might feel a little bit more moody on emotional level. Some of us might be feeling that. Others might just be feeling it as a heightened sense of intuition. But the sun is still in Leo right now, which urges us to be in our exuberance, our playfulness, and our creative self-expression. So you can see there's a contrast here with the sun in Leo and the moon in Scorpio. We have like a little bit of an energy to navigate here regarding the part of us that wants to be out and about, interacting with people, again, being in our playfulness, our exuberance, our self-expression, while Scorpio is more about going within and really feeling into the depths of ourselves. It's a time of really pausing and, feeling into yourself. Where am I at with myself emotionally, intuitively? How is that inspiring how I'm creatively expressing myself? And how is that aligned with or supporting what the intentions are that I set for this new moon? Now, on top of that, if you haven't heard yet, you probably have, a lot of people are talking about it. We're in the height of the Lionsgate portal energy this week. Now, I do have a Lionsgate activation and guided meditation here on my channel. I'll go ahead and link it up here. And it's one that I created while I was in Egypt last year during the Lionsgate portal time. And so in this video, I'm talking more in depth about what the Lionsgate portal is. And then the meditation is giving you an activation for those energies. So definitely check that out. But here I'll say in brief that the Lionsgate portal happens every year when the star Sirius aligns with the sun in Leo and the earth. This amplifies energies that are really supportive of receiving transmissions of spiritual downloads that support our awakening processes. It also greatly gives a boost of positive energy into things that we're intending to create, experience, or manifest. So we have a little bit of an extra energy burst to support our efforts this month and especially this week. So it's a really good time to take some time to really consciously tap into that energy and channel it, or harness it and channel it in ways that are guided by your own intuition. I printed out this chart for the actual first quarter moon. And on this day, which is August 5th, the star Sirius is making a trine to the moon. And so again, that's emphasizing even more a heightened sense of intuition that we have available to us this week. So this is a really good week for any type of intuitive development, exploration, or really honing in and accessing not only your personal intuition as far as your silent knowing goes, but accessing those higher realms of guidance that come from spirit guides, cosmic consciousness, guardian angels, whatever of those realms that you feel guided to work with. We also are still in the throes of that Uranus North Node Mars conjunction that we've been building up to for the past few weeks. The conjunction was exact on July 31st and August 1st, but it is still very much influencing us until we have the full moon next week. The reason why it's emphasized still is because Uranus, Mars, and the North Node are in a square to Saturn. And we also have the Sun opposing Saturn. So there's like a big Saturn sort of interference energy that's happening right now that can cause energies of delays or a feeling of issues, challenges, problems to navigate. On a big picture level, this Uranus North Node Mars conjunction that we've been talking about is liberating us in ways that enable us to step more completely into our higher path, our higher sense of meaning and purpose, our highest timeline and destiny. However, with the Saturn influence, we may feel like we have the ambition, we have the insight, we know what our intentions and desires are, but now it's feeling like moving through mud and making it happen. Now, on a shamanic astrology level or an evolutionary astrology level, I would advise this. To me, it feels like it's best to be in the mindset of trusting the divine timing and trusting that everything is always happening for a reason, right? So even though we might feel like we've gotten sudden awakenings that are inspiring new directions and ambitions, Saturn's saying, hey, wait, the timing's not exactly right now. Don't rush. It's a time of, I don't want to say being patient, but holding space and trusting the flow. And this is where we have opportunity for personal growth as well, in trusting the flow, but trusting the flow based on very clearly defined intentions that we have in place with ourselves right now, if that makes sense. In fact, when I'm looking at the percentages of different elements, factors that are in place this week, there's a prevalence on Earth energy with Pluto, Mars, Uranus, the North Node, and now Mercury, which I'll talk about in a moment, all being in Earth signs. So on one level, this prevalence of Earth energy does bring us a message about staying grounded and more like anchoring in. This is a really good week to work on anchoring in the energies that are connected to whatever awarenesses we've been awakened to, without pushing or forcing or rushing or controlling. Again, holding space, being grounded. A good way to allow this energy of new awarenesses to flow and integrate would be physical movement as well with this Earth energy influence. So keep that in mind. Going for walks, being out in nature, always is really good for clearing the mind anyway. We can't go wrong with that. And consider this to be more of a week of energy integration in preparation for things moving in the direction of tangible manifested results happening. Now we also have Mercury just moved into the sign of Virgo, and this is a little bit of a blessing in the way that it's going to support us all in feeling a little bit more clear and organized regarding our thought processes. Things have felt really up in the air for a lot of us over the course of the past few weeks because of this Uranus energy that's been happening. Can leave us feeling a little bit spacey and not grounded and a little bit all over the place. But now with Mercury being the planet that is connected to things having to do with the mind, learning, studying, thinking, analyzing, assessing, and communicating in the grounded, practical, organized sign of Virgo is gonna give us a nice, almost feeling of exhale, release. We can begin putting our thoughts in order and creating more of a sense of inward cohesion around what our sense of forward movement or forward direction is. Speaking of that, we also still have Neptune retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is actually going to be happening up through the first part of December. And this is still impacting us as well on the level where we're reassessing or reevaluating things having to do with our sense of life path, our deep spiritual sense of meaning and purpose, and future direction. So this is all tied into this overarching theme that we've got going on this week. And it might feel like a little bit of a push-pull type of energy, or it could feel like there's certain areas of your life that don't feel flowing, that feel like there's challenges to navigate. But again, even with that, we have to trust that there's a reason for it, trust the divine timing, and resist the urge to push or force, but just be more in a Zen flow with things, being in the energy of surrender. Not surrender as in giving up, throwing the towel, but surrendering to divine grace, right? Surrendering to divine alignment in regard to what we know our intentions are. So having said all of that, I'm going to go ahead and take a peek at some cards here. So we're going to take a look at what needs to be fine-tuned, how we can do that, and how we can hold a space for an unfolding of energy that supports us in positive ways. Okay, here we go. I'm working with my Universal Rider-Waite deck again today. This is one of my go-to decks. This is the original deck that I learned how to read tarot on, which is the Rider-Waite deck in general, and so it is near and dear to me. Okay, first card we're looking at is what needs to be fine-tuned. Let's fine-tune our senses, our ideas, our visions around what our deepest, longest held, most cherished dreams and goals are, because that's what the Six of Cups is all about. When the Six of Cups comes up in the tarot, it is an indicator that we are aligned with experiencing, creating, manifesting whatever it is that we associate with being those deeper layers of fulfillment that comes with realizing, experiencing, and manifesting our deepest goals and dreams. Now, this card does have components to it that are connected to home, family, domestic life, romantic relationships, and things like that, because it's assigned to the number 6. And in numerology, 6 is the number of love, balance, and harmony. So the checkpoint is, how do we refine our connection with ourselves to optimize our vibration so that we're a clear match to even more love, balance, and harmony? So the next card we're looking at here is connected to what's the energy that's building right now, or what do we focus on building? What's the best energy for us to focus on building or developing, cultivating? as we're approaching the full moon. Okay, the Two of Swords is coming up. So when we're looking at this in regard to what's a good energy for us to focus on cultivating, this makes perfect sense to me based on all of this energy that we've been navigating through with the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction, with the fact that we're in the midst of the Lion's Gate portal now, and some of these other things going on. When the Two of Swords comes up, it's like we're in an incubation period where we may not feel that we have all of the information that we need quite yet in order to make a decision that can lead to some type of action or forward movement. And so the energy to allow to build is allowing yourself to be in that space. I feel like this is connected to what I was saying earlier about the Saturn energy that's influencing us, and this being in a time of holding space and not trying to push or force. The intuitive message that's coming through for all of us, and this is collectively, but then in our own unique ways individually, is you'll know when you know. You'll know the time is right when you know. You'll know what the insight is when it comes. You'll know what the answer is when it comes. The most important thing now is to be present in ourselves, stay very aligned with what we know our intentions are, or what our needs are, or what we're ambitioning towards. Hold on to the awareness of that in the vibration of trusting that things are coming into being right now as we're holding space for receiving more information, awareness, or knowledge that we may need in order to get to the next step for ourselves. And then the last card we're looking at today is connected to how can we keep a positive momentum of energy flowing in ways that are positively supporting us. So let's check into that here. It's the Two of Cups, and it did come up reversed, and so I'm going to talk about that. The Two of Cups can be about partnership and things like that. However, in the reverse position, it's more about focusing on your individual part. If you have matters having to do with literal partnerships or relationships going on right now, this would be a message to focus on you. Focus on what you feel compelled to do for your own growth. And more than likely, because this is coming up, there's ways that our own individual processes are connected to or are impacting matters having to do with significant relationships in our life. It doesn't always have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a business partnership, a friendship, a colleague, a coworker. But, this is very connected to partnerships where there's a very positive energy of sharing going on. And so keep a positive momentum of energy flowing by owning accountability and responsibility for your own individual part, your own individual growth. Focus on yourself right now. Maybe even notice where there's been some projecting going on. Some of you out there might have that as a part of the message, realizing where maybe there's been unintentionally projecting things that are going on within you on other people, and being able to own accountability and responsibility for that. Nurturing your own growth and your own healing is the way to nurture a positive energy momentum that will ultimately carry whatever your new moon intentions were or are into some type of fruition. So that's what's going on this week, guys. It, as I said, feels like it could be like a little bit of a push-pull energy. We've got certain aspects going on that are supporting us in attaining downloads or transmissions of spiritual insights and awarenesses, which is a blessing. And then still a little bit of challenge, awkward energy that we're working through as well. But again, we have to trust the divine order of things and that everything is as it should be in the now and is ultimately supporting bigger processes that we may or may not be aware of. So this is a really good week to just stay really tapped into your intuition, tending to your self-care, being out on the land, doing physical movements that help ground you and allow a space for energy integration. I feel that as we're coming into the full moon next week, we're going to be experiencing yet another shift that will lend itself to more of an openness of fluid energy as well. Please feel free to share anything you would like to share about this in the comments below. If you have questions, you can put those in the comments as well. I love responding to your guys' questions and insights. So let's keep them flowing, guys. If you love this content, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, just to let YouTube know that you're loving the content here. I so appreciate your presence here. Thanks for subscribing and joining me weekly, guys. Love you all so much. Blessings and namaste.